Once you've entered all sales and expense transactions, the next step is to process the bank feed. This involves reviewing and matching transactions in QuickBooks Online QBO against what actually went in and out of your bank account. What is the bank feed? The bank feed refers to the connection between QBO and your bank. When set up correctly, QBO automatically pulls in your bank transactions, creating the bank feed. These important transactions are then used to match and categorize entries within QBO. Why is this important? There are a few key reasons. Throughout the month, transactions are recorded in QBO either by you or by the client, manually or automatically, but things can be missed. For example, transactions might be accidentally deleted, entered twice, or not recorded at all. Even QBO itself isn't perfect. Sometimes it suggests matches based on its best guess, and those guesses can be off. While Intuit continues to improve QBO accuracy, especially with AI-driven features, it's still essential to double-check. One more thing before we actually process the bank feed in this exercise, I want to mention about the frequency of doing the scramble at month's end when things tend to get more hectic. Alright? To process the bank feed, we open the bank transactions from the left menu bar right over here. And we select suggested matches to work on first. And it will show you all the transactions that QBO think that is a match. And these are showing as the green match found. One match found means there is one transaction in QBO to one transaction in the bank account. But sometimes you see two matches found. And that means that there are more than two matches that QBO thinks there are. But we first accept the exact matches by clicking the blue match. Or you can also accept the matches in a batch by selecting all the matches, but make sure you uncheck the transaction that says two matches found. And now only the transactions that have only one match are selected, and at this point we will click accept on the black bar and it will accept all of those matches. The only ones left are the matches that have two matches. So the first line here, $75. There are two transactions for $75, and QBO doesn't know which one is the correct $75. So let's look at the one for Palm sites first. And we are going to click to expand to see the details. And the way you can tell this right here, the first one, expense 76, is the right one, is because the details in QBO Palm sites and the bank detail here, down here, Palm sites are both matching. So we are going to go ahead and click the green match button. And now that one is matched. And because this eliminated the other $75, the suggested match for Books by Bessie is showing this one as a match. So we are again going to go ahead and click the match button. And now that one is matched as well. And the last one, once again, we will click on it to expand to see the details. And you will see that there are two showing. Both of them says it's for Squeaky Clean Car Wash, which agrees with the bank details. But only check debit has the same date as the bank feed, September 1st, 2025. So this is how we know that the check debit right here is the correct one. So we go ahead and click the green match button. And there is no other suggested match. So we click the X to clear the filter, and it will show the bank transactions that cannot find a corresponding match in QBO. What we are going to do for the uncategorized items is first ask the client for what it was for. So let's say that the client told you that the $55 was a refund from Books by Bessie, who was the client's previous bookkeeper. And the refund always has to go back to the original account that was used before. So in the account field, we will select bookkeeper. And click the green Add button. And now the transaction is now categorized. And finally, we have one last transaction that doesn't seem to match to anything. There could be a couple reasons for it. It could be that the client purchased something and didn't tell you about it, so it was not recorded in QBO. Or it could be that the transaction was recorded in QBO, but there was a typo, therefore didn't find a match in the bank feed. When you fix the transactions, there are two ways to do it. One is to directly from the bank feed, and the other is to use the expense form plus new. Both ways work fine, and which one to use depends on the situation. When you use the add feature from the bank feed, I want to caution you before adding the expense from the bank feed. First, make sure that the transaction was never recorded in QBO, because you could mistakenly create duplicates. Also, adding the expense from the bank feed does not give you a full function to add the expenses sometimes. For this reason, the best practice for adding or fixing the expense is to use the expense form from plus new if you could. So what I want to do here is to first search if the transaction has been ever recorded in QBO. To do that, we will click plus new, and under vendors, click expense. We find this right here. $24.36, which is very close to the $24.38 in the bank feed. And let's say that when we verified with the client and the underlying receipt, you noted that there was a typo and the correct amount was $24.38. So you can fix the amount right here in expense form. So let's do that. We will click this item and we will simply click the amount box and type 8 instead of 6, and we save and close. We go back to bank transactions, and now you see the item, this transaction has one match, so we can simply click the match button. So we are all finished with processing the bank feed for this account. In summary, when processing the bank feed, start by reviewing and confirming the suggested matches. Once those are